Hello everyone. I hope you all are doing great. My name is Anjali and today we are going to be discussing what are going to be the upcoming backend trends which are going to be extremely popular in 2024. So let's get started so that you guys can actually stay updated with all of those things and you can prepare for all your interviews accordingly. Okay, so the first thing which we have here is what are going to be the popular programming languages, and the first one here we have is Rust. So I'm not sure how many of you are already aware of this, but those who are not, so we have one programming language and that is called as Rust. And with the evolving time, this one is gaining a lot of momentum as this one is quite robust. And when you talk about this programming language, this one is also very secure, and whenever you have to write down some code or something, but is the ultimate thing which we are concerned about, that it should be secure enough. Also, when you talk about Rust, so this one is also going to be offering you memory safety is extremely important feature when it is about, when you have to deal with the systems in the backend development. Because how it is going to be helpful for us, this one is going to be helpful by prioritizing the performance and the security there. The next programming language which we can see here is JavaScript. So when we talk about the JavaScript, there JavaScript is such a thing which is actually becoming a trend in the software development field, and this is actually happening from a very long time. It's not something which is coming new, but it is actually prevailing from a very long time, and this one is still continuing to play a vital role in the industry. Like, we are still dependent on the JavaScript for a lot of things. So when you talk about the JavaScript, so a lot of people actually feel it is just a front-end language. So although initially it was just a front-end language, but with the time it has expanded its wings even in the backend development. And if you talk about the Node.js, so that is a runtime environment which is actually executing JavaScript server side. Okay, and that one is actually gaining extremely popularity over the period of time. Now the next one which we have here is Python. So you guys must be knowing artificial intelligence is something which is ruling the internet these days, ruling the industries these days. And when you talk about all of those things, what is the best language in which you can write down the code? So that is going to be the Python there. Okay, so this Python, even when I was doing my MTech and all that time also, it was extremely popular. So again, it's not something which is becoming recently popular. So from a long time this has been popular, and we use this basically for your backend software development thing. And when you talk about Python, so you must be already knowing, in this whatever code we write, that is usually a clean code. And since it is a clean code, so it becomes easier for us to read all the syntax. And when whenever our code is quite readable, that becomes an excellent choice for all the developers to pick that programming language. So even if they, when you talk about Python, so even if you are a beginner, then also it is extremely helpful language to start your programming career with. And even if you're experienced professional, then also it will be very easy for you to learn Python. This language actually provides you a simplicity which helps the, which actually speed up the entire development process, and it also reduces a lot of errors there. Okay, the next one which we have here is Internet of Things. So when you talk about today's world, if you will see, we are using a lot of devices, and all of those devices are actually, if you will just look at those devices, what they are doing nothing but they are collecting some data, they are exchanging some data. And where all of those things are happening, everything is happening on the internet, over the internet, right? So when you talk about all of these devices, so basically these are going to be having some simple sensors, or they are going to be having some actuators to the complex industrial machinery and all the consumer appliances. If you will just look at your home, what and all are the devices which you have these days. We are actually targeting at building smart homes where we are having some smart lights, some smart equipments and all. Even for the cleaning purpose, we are using some robot vacuum cleaners. We are having AC thing where we are controlling the temperature with the help of sensors. And also, how we are able to achieve all of these features. So all of these features are nothing but these are the part of Internet of Things only. And we have total 15.4 billion devices whatever are connected over the IoT. They all generate vast amount of data, and all of those data are actually used for creating a system for your web device or your mobile device. And there we are actually ingesting this data, we are processing this data, and we are storing all of this data in the effective manner. And in order to perform all of these things, we need to have some of the networks available with us, and those networks are something like AWS, Azure, Google Cloud. And with the help of all of these platforms, we are building a scalable and reliable backend internet systems for all your internet of things applications. Okay. The next one which we have here is zero trust architecture. So when you are talking about zero trust, what is the English meaning of that word? It means we are not having any trust at all. So when you talk about zero trust, so here this is something which all the organizations are using, and in this what the organizations are basically doing, so they are not trusting any user or any device, even if it is inside or if it is outside of the corporate network. So what they are doing, they are actually assuming that threats, like when you talk about some security threats and also, they can actually come from both internal and external sources. So what it is doing, it is verifying and validating every user and devices who are attempting to access the resources. And that is also one of the reason, like if you are already working in the corporates and all, you must be knowing, before accessing any of the user, they usually ask you to authenticate yourself. So basically they are trying to avoid all the avoidable threats in that manner. So when you talk about the zero trust architecture, there what are the key principles on which it is built? So first one is, you need to verify the identity, like you need to perform that authentication before accessing any of the resources. Second one is least privilege access. So you should not be providing all the privileges to each and everyone in the organization. Instead, you just provide the least amount, whatever is required. Also perform data encryption. So that is very nice. If it is encrypted, not everybody will get to know about all the sensitive information. And no implicit trust, like you cannot just provide all some security accesses to each and everyone. You just need to ensure that is not happening there. Okay, let's move to the next one. The next one which we have here is edge computing. So when you talk about edge computing, what we do here, so you are actually going to be performing some data processing. So what it says, whenever you have to perform the data processing, instead of staying away, you have to move closer to the source. Similar thing, like let us say you are having some Wi-Fi router at your place. So if you are sitting in the room where your router is there, you will experience better performance. But if you will move away, you will feel some network disconnection is happening, and that happens because you are far away from the source. So you can see, just by moving closer to the source, you are actually having a better performance there. So how you can avoid it in the world of internet? So there you can have some reduced latency. So what does it means? It means when you are where you will have to perform computation, you will have to you have to go closer to the data source. So that way what you can avoid, you can have a reduced round trip time. And when it is going to be lesser, of course it is going to reflect faster for you. Okay. Now where it is actually going to be helpful for you for some online games, some video streamings and all. Okay, at that places lower latency is crucial. Okay. Now the next one which we have is improved performance. So with this improved performance, what we are targeting, in today's world, what is something which everybody is targeting at? We are those people, we cannot actually wait for a website to load. We will prefer those websites which are quite fast. So their improved performance is something which is going to be extremely helpful. The next one which we have here is bandwidth savings. Of course, if let us say your web page is having a lot of modules, a lot of things to load, so the overall loading time is going to get increased. On the other side, if you are reducing all of those things, if you will have a lesser data, in such a case, you can save the bandwidth by sending it to all the centralized points or the cloud services. The next one is real-time data processing. So when you talk about real-time data processing, so you know that we are having some of the edges. Those edge nodes are actually processing the data in the real time. You can make it ideal for all your applications which require the immediate analysis and all the decision making. So if you talk about Internet of Things applications, the sensors can actually process your data for your edge to trigger the actions, like in the watches and all, we are having some wake up things. So if you are just looking at it, what you are expecting out of it, that it should, the moment I'm just looking at it, it should wake up and show me the time. So that is how your edge computing is actually working. Now let's move to the next one. The next one which we have here is the serverless architecture. So this is something which is already prevailing, and this is going to expand its wings in the 2024 as well. So when you talk about serverless, as the name is suggesting, serverless. So what does it mean? In this, we are not going to be having any of the server with us. So what it is actually saying, that instead of focusing, or like instead of investing your time in managing all the servers, what you can do, you can put all your bandwidth in writing down the code, in deploying the functions, in enhancing the scalability and cost efficiency. So when you talk about your serverless architecture, so in this one, we are actually going to be performing all of those things on the cloud based server. So in this particular one, you do not have to be concerned about if a server is available or not, if a server is having a capacity or not, if you need to manage the infrastructure management or not. All of these things are actually taken care by the cloud based servers like your AWS, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud Functions, and all of those other services. Also, if you just look at all of these things, these are very cost efficient, because here you are not actually paying for each and everything. You are going to be paying the money, which is going to be calculating depending upon all the real resources utilizations. I hope I must have been able to help all of you guys. Please share this video with all of your friends so that they can also learn certain things new and they can prepare their job interviews accordingly. Please subscribe to the Talent 500 YouTube channel, and I'll be seeing you in the next video. Till then, happy learning, and if you have any doubts, please comment it down below. Bye bye.